It's time for the Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast. Powerful and liberating business strategies you can start in 5 minutes or less. Now, here's your host, Dean Soto.
Hey, this is Dean Soto, founder of freedomin5minutes.com and prosulum.com, prosulum.com. And we're here again with another Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast episode. Today's topic is this. It's the stories you tell yourself that hold you back. That and more coming up. Oh, all right. Good morning. Hey, if you have not subscribed on iTunes or Spotify, if you go to Google and you type in Freedom in 5 Minutes, iTunes, it will come up with the Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast, and you can subscribe so that you can listen on your phone. Or if you type in Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast, Spotify, it will also come up there. We're on a number of different platforms, Stitcher, Spotify, a whole bunch of different places. So go check that out. Go and first and foremost, before doing anything, go and subscribe so that you can get this every single day, or at least when I do it, which has been daily for the most part. Oh man, doesn't necessarily mean it's been published daily, but it at least I'm out here doing it, and yeah, which it happens when it happens sometimes. Anyway, all that being said, so recently I've started doing what is called a fact map. It's a thing from Warrior, from the whole Warrior thing, and it helps you to start creating your 90-day goals, your 90-day targets. And part of the fact map is exactly that, looking at the facts of where you are at in your body, where you're at in your spirituality, where you're at in your family, and where you are at in your business. And the feelings and just the facts and the feelings and all that stuff associated around them. And then where do you want to be? Where do you want those things to be? So where are you at now? So without feeling bad about anything, for me, I'm supposed to weigh, at least according to the military, when I was in the military, I'm supposed to weigh around 180 pounds. Well, I weigh about 200 pounds. I was at about 215, dropped down to where I'm about 200 right now. And, yeah, that's, so I am technically overweight according to the military standards, right? So is that a bad thing or a good thing? Well, it all depends, right? Right now, it's just the facts. It's just the facts of where I am at, right? So that's without any judgments or anything like that. That is where I am at, okay? And that's what makes this thing so powerful is you really look at the facts. You really look at where you're at and what you're doing. And that in and of itself is extremely, extremely powerful. And why is that? Well, a lot of the times we tell ourselves stories based around data, okay? And those stories are what holds us back, okay? So I'll give you a perfect example. As I was doing this fact map, one of the things that it asks about when it comes to data about your body was how many times do you lift weights per week? Now, I live up in the hills. I live in the country. Like, I am a country bumpkin, right? Countryest bumpkin without a country accent. But I live in the hills of California, and it takes me about 40 minutes to get to the city, to get to a place where you can go to the big gym and get all the free weights and see all the big, huge, muscle-bound beasts lifting and growling and groaning, right? So it takes me a while to get there. It takes me a long time to get there. And so one of the stories I tell myself was that, yes, I have a membership at the gym that we have up here. The gym is like a 500 square foot building, and in it are only there are some dumbbells, but for the most part it is machines. Right? It's machines. They have press machines, they have leg machines, they have all these machines, but they're packed into this very, very little space. And the entire time, for the last 3 years I've been here, I have told myself a story. Because as I'm doing this fact map, I'm going, wow, I have not lifted in a long time. And I don't feel like going all the way down to the city to lift. I do jujitsu. I do enough cardio. I'm all good, right? I do all of the things that I need to do for my body. So why should I even bother going all the way down there? And of course, I'm not going to come up. I'm not going to, even though I have a membership, I'm not going to lift weights up here because it's just machines. It's just machines, right? That's not going to do anything for me. Well, interestingly enough, I caught myself in that story. I'm like, oh, you know what? I think I'm telling myself a story, and I'm believing something that might not actually be true. And so I started thinking about what I had just kind of discovered, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna actually YouTube. I'm gonna go to YouTube, and I'm gonna see if there's any videos on results with machines versus free weights. Now, keep in mind, one of the reasons why I was so hell-bent on free weights is because I did a lot of CrossFit. I did a lot of lifting of free weights for the time of most of the time that I was in the military, and that was just kind of the in thing, right? It's free weights. So I go to YouTube, I do my search, and I come across a video by a guy named Elliot Hulse. Very, very popular guy, he's a motivational type speaker guy. He lifts. He used to be a really weak nerd type character, and he started just not making excuses and started lifting, and now he looks like a giant. Super, super interesting guy. I don't know too much about him, so I'm not going to endorse him. I'm not going to say, hey, wow, yeah, you got to go check him out, and everything he says is great or whatever. But it was a video that he did that was on the difference between free weights and machines. And one of the things he pointed out was during his time of lifting, he saw the trend shift. So back in the day, and I actually remember this as well with all of my friends, at least when I was in high school, back in the day, machines for lifting weights, machines were the in thing. Most people used machines, at least from the popular standpoint. Most people used a lot of the different types of machines. And that was the thing to do. Whereas the free weights, anything to do with free weights was not looked down upon. It just wasn't, it wasn't as good because it wasn't technology, right? It wasn't as technologically advanced as the machines, because the machines would isolate your muscles and they would target exactly what you needed and to sculpt and shape and build your body, at least on the popular level with most people, with 80% of the people. Obviously, people who are doing bodybuilding competitions and things like that, they always have preferred the free weights for the most part. But still, machines at one time were the popular way of getting stronger and looking more fit. And so it was at that point that I was like, you know what? I'm definitely telling myself a story that I have to drive 45 minutes down there. I have to drive 45 minutes down there to get ripped, right? There, because that's the only place I have free weights, and there's no place nearby, or I have to get my own set here at home. And I have with 7 kids and one on the way, that kind of can be a little dangerous with the weights lying around and stuff like that. Don't want bars and things like that to fall on them. So obviously I was telling myself a story. Well, yesterday I took control of that, and I went to the gym up here, and I started doing chest exercises and tricep exercises. I didn't do a ton because I knew that I hadn't done much lifting at all, and so I didn't want to overexert my muscles or anything like that. But I did enough to get to complete muscle failure. So I did the bench press machine, I did the shoulder machine, I did the tricep rope pull, I did pull-ups and a couple of other things. And today, I had a really funny thing happen and a really funny feeling. This morning, my chest hurt. My chest muscles at this point in time right now are extremely sore. And I literally just had to laugh. I had to laugh and tell myself, I had to laugh and just basically at the fact that for literally years, I have been telling myself this story that has paralyzed me, absolutely paralyzed me when it came to any type of strength training. It's funny, but it's scary at the same time. It's funny because I literally could have just drove up, done that, and got a great workout. It's scary because it paralyzed me for years. Years. It put me in a state of complete inaction when it came to something that's really important to me. This is the power of telling yourself these types of stories. And this is only one of them. I haven't even gone through the rest of the things that I'm telling myself. And this has happened over and over and over in my life. One of the things that has held me back from, one of the things that have actually held me back from associating with people who are of a higher caliber when it comes to business. And I thank God for friends like Matt and other people who tell me my stories are freaking dumb. One of the things that I always would tell myself was that, I'm not making enough. I might be able to have all of the time in the world, essentially. I might be able to only have to work, 4 hours a month, like literally. But I'm not Inc. 500. I'm not Inc. 5000. I'm not, I'm not making these huge multi-million-dollar profit and all this other stuff, right? I used to tell myself that all of the time. And it wasn't until I got a kick in the butt from some business friends who were making millions and millions of dollars in revenue, but were keeping just a little bit more than I was in profit. They would look at me and be like, dude, yeah, we're making millions, but you're keeping more than we're keeping. Yeah, we're making millions, but we're working 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week. So the story that you're telling yourself is total crap. Like, we would kill to have what you have. And it took so long for me to accept that. Probably because of past issues and past things and stuff like that. But yet again, it was another story that held me back. And it wasn't until I could see that story for what it was that I could associate with people who were of that high caliber and give a ton of value to them and help them to get to where they're spending less and less time on stuff they don't need to spend and stuff, which is huge for them. Huge, right? So why is this important? It's important because you are telling yourself stories as well. You are telling yourself things about facts that and data in your life that aren't true. And we all do it. We all do this. And the biggest thing is to recognize when you're telling yourself a story. It might be a story about your belief in God. It might be a story about your family and how your spouse is. I know people who treat their spouses like crap because they think that their spouse is almost their enemy when their spouse is trying so hard to love them and does so much to show that love to them. But it's all a story. It's all a story that the person's telling themselves. It might be a story about your business. It might be a story about, your own personal views on whatever it might be. But you're telling yourself a story. Sometimes it's a good story. Sometimes it's a bad story. But the biggest thing is to look that it's a story and see, hey, this is a story. This is what I'm telling myself about this piece of data. And we all do it. Once you recognize it, that's when the power comes to start changing and shifting it. And a big way of doing that is through prayer. And prayer doesn't mean to, you don't have to be like, da 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 da, or saying these repeated prayers or anything like that. It could just be sitting in silence and being, start looking, at what you've been doing. Ask God to reveal some things to you, and listen and look at what's going on. I had some really interesting things happen this week when it came to this stuff that I've been telling myself stories on that I'd never realized. And it's a never-ending process, but every time you do it, you grow. And so this week I challenge you. I challenge you to just sit and take some time, go through some of the facts of where you're at, whether it's your body, your spirituality, whether it's your business or your family. Just write down some of the things that are happening, and you're going to start seeing some stories around that type of stuff. It's really powerful, and it's something that when you do it, you'll start seeing just how much your internal world affects your external, much more than your external affecting your internal. All right, so this is Dean Soto. Once again, go check out freedomin5minutes.com. Got a business process scorecard there. See how much time you are wasting, potentially, how much time you could save on processes that you're doing. We have a masterclass. Go check out prosulum.com, prosulum.com as well. We have a 4-video series there. We just got a lot of stuff happening. It's going to be awesome. A lot of new stuff coming up. We have had a lot of new customers at prosulum.com. So excited. We're going to be building a huge community as well of people who are literally getting freedom in 5 minutes, that they literally don't have to do that task ever again, and can completely scale their business quickly, efficiently, and just grow in such a quick and fast and easy way. So go check out prosulum.com, prosulum.com as well. So anyway, this is Dean Soto. I'm going to be walking uphill. And so we should end this right now. This is Dean Soto, Freedom in 5 Minutes. I will catch you on the next Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast episode.
Thanks for listening to the Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast. Now, head over to www.freedomin5minutes.com and register for our free masterclass and discover how to start systemizing and automating your entire business 5 minutes at a time. We'll see you next time on the Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast.